Happy New Year! I was listening to that show before we got started and I was like, am I in a time warp? And has New Year begun? But I understand it was a recording. We do that all the time too. We're here this morning. I'm with Vanya. I shared that song and that recording I made just to invite you. Go within. That this idea of the Trinity is the male and the female energy, that when we're able to bring those together, that you, within you, whether you're a man or a woman, you have that energy within you. Vanya has the male energy in her. I have the female energy within me, but I'm also a male energy, and she's also a female energy. And when we're able to combine those energies, we're able to ascend, to reach our higher self, and get clearer understanding as to what we should do and where we should be and how we can really enjoy heaven on earth is my personal understanding. Vanya, what's your thoughts?
I think, yes, you're right. It's just understanding what situation is around you, where you are, and then making the best of it.
Yeah.
I try not to overcomplicate, but it is really just making the best of every situation.
Says the Hindu, with all her different fasting and different practices.
Yeah, the fasting is to make the best of, whenever, there are certain times or a few times a week. It's just to keep the thought process clear.
There you go. Just like meditation, just like prayer. Whatever you do to get yourself in the state where you're connecting with your higher self, we want to encourage you to keep practicing. Keep paying attention to that inner journey, because I am only sharing my own personal experience. I don't know. I didn't read it in a book. I read some books, but it's the actual practice of going within, of sitting in quiet, meditation with yourself, of quieting the mind, and then we can get our answers. That's where I get my answers. So what's your answer this morning, Vanya? What is the thing that is on your heart that you want to share with the listeners this morning?
Change. Everything around us is changing in so many ways. And this kind of change that we are seeing is not something traditional. Like, we always say change is the only constant, but sometimes things change in a predictable way. But right now, what I'm noticing, and to be honest, most of my time is spent working, and so a lot of my thought process is around work.
Right.
And definitely, it's a very unpredictable, changing situation that we're in, and we could say that it's just the market, and but it is affecting us. It is affecting our finances. It is affecting our lifestyle. It is affecting where we will live in the future.
Right.
How we're living right now. What are we doing with what we have so that we can keep up with the change?
Right.
So yeah, that's what.
So where do you begin? Where does this?
I think the place to begin is currently assessing your situation.
Right.
And I'll kind of bring it into perspective of what I'm talking about.
Okay.
There are a lot of people I'm talking to who are in desperate need of money. And business owners and just regular working people, and the money is there. It's just trapped in the house in the form of the equity.
Right.
Because, and this now shifts to people who are thinking, should I buy? Like, I have money put away to invest. Should I invest into real estate?
Right.
Or keep my money in 401k or wherever? So you guys pay attention. But these individuals who already have homes are the biggest proof that even with the higher rate, the property values are going up. Because they're looking at it. They're looking at how much equity they've developed in just a year or two, even when the rates have been extremely high.
Right.
And they're in need of a lot of these people are in need of some cash. And where it becomes very interesting for people to understand is that a lot of these people are in interest rates that came out of a miracle time.
Right.
And I always have to remind people that phase we had for the interest rate was only for 2.5 years, not even.
Right.
Because right when the COVID was at in the peak, the rates did go back up. So really, I would say a year and a half is what those rates were.
Right.
And these people do have those rates. And here you are with a 3% interest rate, a lot of equity in your property. Mortgage payment is okay, but there are other bills. And you need money.
Right.
So now when they contact us and they say, well, what do we do? Obviously rates are high. We all know rates are higher.
Right.
So now what happens is an individual, for example, is paying $2,500 per month on their mortgage payment right now.
Right.
And they need money. But they're also paying $300 for one card, $500 for something else, $400 for something else. So the total between the husband and wife, they're paying about $4,500.
Right.
They may not see it because they're writing different checks.
Right.
When they contact us, if we can make it work, because again, it's not like come and just go into this higher interest rate. There are a lot of checks. Sometimes it does work. That mortgage payment now from $2,500 becomes $3,200.
Right.
Or $3,300.
Right.
And they instantly go in the panic mode. That's crazy.
But to me, it's easy to understand that in their mind, the mortgage is the mortgage. You have to pay. The car, the credit cards. If worse comes to worse, you can forget about those and just continue paying your mortgage and survive. So if I now combine the two, then I'm going to be in a problem because now I have to pay the entire total.
That's the typical thought process. But what really happens is those credit cards didn't just come. There is a need why those cards were charged.
Right.
So you could very well say, I'm just going to stop paying those cards and I'm just going to keep paying. You're going to have the need again.
Right.
And if you haven't paid on those cards, or if your card is gone, you can go back into it.
All right. So what's the solution that
That's where I'm going. The solution is, that's why I started. Change. Understanding what works best for you when, right?
Right.
So if you can go ahead and take advantage of this, if you can, and yes, your mortgage payment goes up, but in the grand scheme of things, you're saving a ton of money. The interest rates will drop. That's a market. They may drop in 3 months. They may drop in a year. The market cannot be at this. It's always a cycle. You know more than I do, right? These loans don't have any prepayment penalties.
Right.
The equity, if it is growing with higher interest rates, such high interest rates, and prices are still going up. As soon as the rates drop, what happens? Overnight prices go up. Overnight, literally, right? Your equity is only continuing to grow. So when that rate drop happens, now that you've brought your life together, you're saving almost $1,000, $1,200 a month, you can go ahead and refinance into a lower rate. So it's like a win-win situation to me.
Okay, hold on. So I'm in a position where the expenses have gone up.
Right.
Things have happened. Maybe I've gotten sick. Maybe I've been off work. And I've used the credit card and charged it up. I need a car. I need to get around in South Florida. I bought a car. And I feel at this stage I should get something that I enjoy, a nice car. So now, 6 months later, I'm realizing that the charges I put on the credit card and this new car are now leaving me with no room. That I'm literally looking at other cards and putting a little bit more on those. And then I get something in the mail, or I hear from Vanya that, my house is actually worth $300,000 more than I actually own it. And I'm sitting there, wait, how do I get this money? But when I call Vanya, she's going to tell me that my payment is going to go up by $800 that I'm paying now. Yes, my car payment and my credit cards are $1,400. So I really would save, $700.
More, yeah.
Right? $600 by doing this refinance. But now my mortgage has become that heavy obligation. What if I get laid off? What if I have a problem, 2 years from now? I've got myself committed to this much higher mortgage payment. That is the thinking. I don't want you to answer it because the answer is income. too many people are stuck in a situation where they're saying my income is my income and my income is never going to change, when the reality is the area you can't change interest rates. You're not going to affect the rate at which mortgage rates increase. You're not going to affect the rate the way whether your car lasts or have an accident, but you can 100% affect your income, and that's where we want to tell you to put your attention to in terms of the changes. Not to say everybody must just go get a new job, not to say everybody must just go into work and demand a raise, but to start looking around at how you can generate more income through, I like real estate, I like mortgages, but you may say, you know what, I'm in the carpentry business, I'm in the car repair business, I'm in the lawn care business. There are lots of industries where every single person, cooking, cleaning, something out there that you can do to generate more income, and that you need to have your income keep pace with the rate at which inflation is and things are going up. That I see too many of our clients who come in who are very loyal to their jobs, but they're not getting paid what they should be getting paid based on their skill sets.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to challenge what you're talking about right now.
All right.
A lot of these people have gotten into this situation because they just have no reserves available to them at all.
Right.
We were just talking to Steve yesterday, and he was explaining how, when we all know over 60% of the population is one paycheck away from things falling apart for them.
Right.
So people don't just get up and go, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and charge up. So a lot of people do. But the clients I deal with, a lot of them have gotten into the situation where they have a lot of these charges because they have just no room, no liquidity.
Right.
And in many times, more than often, the way I strategize these refinances, more than paying the credit card, there is an agenda that these individuals are left with some extra cash that they can put in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
That's what what saves people. Not the idea that, 2 years later you could lose your job. Well, I could walk out of this studio and die, get hit by a car and die. That's not how we live our life.
Right.
We live our life knowing we have some security if and when needed. And that is why I feel that talking about refinance, even when the interest rates are on the higher side, makes so much sense. Because in most cases, not only are they able to pay these bills, but they're also able to have finally some money in the bank that they can go to, God forbid, if something should go wrong again.
Right.
There are so many ways, Dax, by the time we finish the refinance, that they not only, another thing that I want people to, once we're done, just do your numbers. You are making it right now. You're paying all of this somehow, right? When you instantly have that drop now that you're saving almost $1,000 that you're not paying, that is disposable cash available to you. Where does that go? What do you do with that money? So it's not just refinance. It's about really understand, even to a point, what caused these cards to be charged up.
Right.
And that's why I feel like, there are so many options people have that they don't need to struggle.
Right. And what the person listening to you right now who is sitting there, what are the options
I just explained.
Yeah.
If you have a property that you know you have equity in,
yeah.
and you want to do something else, or you have a lot of debt, or you may even feel that, I really don't necessarily want to sell this house. I want to keep this house. I don't have the money to go buy the house I really would like to buy.
Mm-hmm.
Can I refinance? How would that work out?
Right.
Take cash out of it, go into my next property.
Right.
In that process, maybe pay some bills off.
Right.
And then I could go ahead and see, okay, which one I'm going to rent, what we're going to do.
Right.
Definitely reach out to us, guys. Do not let the idea that the interest rates are on the higher side make you not make that decision or continue struggling. If it won't work, it won't work. We'll be able to tell you that plan is not going to be so okay for you. But there is absolutely no need to struggle.
All right. Well, so I agree with you that the struggle is depending on how you position yourself, where you say your priorities are and what you feel must be done. And definitely, we can help people to make a plan, to look at the specific figures, to understand the different areas and things to consider to manage those expenses, and more importantly, to access that equity that you may have in that property. I got a message from Facebook. Mr. Mark Cameron, good morning, sir. He's asking, what are the acres doing? If you're in South Florida, you're going up. The values are going up consistently across the board. Miami is crazy. It's 625,000 for the average single-family home in Miami, and I'm telling you, it's nothing fancy. It's a little, shack that you're gonna be getting into. So it's crazy out there, but we can't give up.
It's full of opportunities too, as crazy as it is, because I have a lot of people who've understood that what a gold mine it is to be in these areas.
Yeah.
And they have leveraged the money they have or the equity they have to go ahead and buy investment properties.
Right.
And most times, just as we close, and I did bring some numbers later on to share, these investors are instantly owning an asset that is producing monthly income for them, giving them a decent tax benefit, and we just closed one tax, and our client, it's an apartment,
right,
and our client I got him into a contract for 245,000. Something happened, the appraiser had to go back, so I was just looking at the comps again. Before my client closed, 2 closed there for 275.
You're so proud of yourself.
Exactly same. No, it's not.
No, you should be.
It's about that, what an opportunity this guy has gotten.
Absolutely.
Only by, taking the first step to have a discussion with us. Because if he decides in 6 months from now that, it didn't work out, I'm going to sell, he knows he's going to walk away with money. That's what I was talking about when I was saying. And all of this while the interest rates continue to rise. That the property value has gone up 30,000 already.
Morning, Michelle Barone. Good morning, WVS listeners. We're here this morning. Vanya is talking about the benefits and the opportunities in the market. You mentioned Steve. Good morning, Steve. Steve was sharing with us that, there are lots of people, 60%, probably 70% of the people listening are struggling, are really just going, hand to mouth to just keep pace with staying alive and staying, in the game. And I know what that's like. I've been there, but I don't want you to stay there. For the other 30 or 40% who are thriving, who are doing well and seeing that, this is my life, I can take responsibility for it. I want to live my best life now. Trust me, the opportunities are there. Do not sit on the sideline waiting for this whole thing to crash. If you can afford to get into the market now, if you're in an industry that's booming and doing well, and we know there's certain medical industry, where there's certain transportation industry, there's certain construction industry, there are different people who their businesses, self-employed, doing very well. Somebody running coin laundries. We're thinking about buying a coin laundry. So if you're out there with a coin laundry to sell, Fanny, as an investor, she is ready to go. She wants to buy a coin laundry. Business is a great way to create income for yourself. It certainly has its risks, but when you're running your own business, you're taking a significant amount of that responsibility. And if you want help with getting business financing, we have lenders who can lend you money to do your if you own your own business and you want to buy the space in which to do your business, or you already own that space but you have equity, you're thinking we're just doing residential loans. We are doing commercial loans as well to assist you if you want to get cash out and invest to continue growing your business, not just to survive, not just to stay in the struggle, but to actually take advantage of this market. Because I promise you, what you're seeing today for 500,000 or 600,000, next year, what do you think is going to be worth, Vanya?
I just explained before we closed it. This condo, the 2-bedroom, was at 275.
Right.
So definitely, 25-30% increase is happening really fast, and it's inevitable. There is just only so much space.
Yeah.
And we are one of the states where people move into. There's a thing going on social media, where there's when you enter Florida, there's that sign, welcome to Florida,
Right.
the oranges.
Yes.
But it's saying Florida is full go. And it's going everybody, and
It's a trend. Vanya's on social media. She's on TikTok, she's on YouTube, and she's on Facebook. So please check out her page and support her. She's making a lot of content. She's always been a very creative person.
It's funny because people who've already worked with me probably feel I have no personality.
No, everybody knows you have a strong personality.
No, only for work. It's just like very cut and dry. Just go. But these videos are because of my social media manager. And they are very funny, and they bring a whole different side.
Who's your social media?
My social media manager is my son, and obviously, he doesn't hold back. I should have thought a lot before I gave him the job, but yes, guys, you should check it out. It's just trying to create some humor in this, kind of, like I said, unpredictably changing environment in so many ways. Before we go further, I just want to pay condolences to the Mariah family. Mrs. Mariah passed away a couple of days ago, and they reached out to us. So please accept our deepest condolences. They're like a family to me,
Absolutely.
not just clients.
Mr. Mariah and I, once in a while, we have these.
First time when he called and I spoke, I felt like I was talking to a family member.
Yeah.
I've not
Good
looked at
people.
them as clients. So yeah, coming back to with these changes and so.
Let's stay with that a second, though, because we live in this cycle of life and death,
Right.
and every death is a new birth, and every life is precious, and we know that when we become aware of ourselves, one of the first things we become aware of is that we will die and we will pass away. And they were wise enough to look into getting protection for final expense insurance.
That's what really broke my heart, because I just met them.
Yeah. Well, we met them before.
Yeah, no, for the purpose of the final expense,
Right.
I just met them. So, that just life changes in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
But the TikTok channel is Dax and Vanya. Please go check it out. I'm laughing because you'll see a side of me that's very different than what you even hear on the radio.
Okay. Yes, definitely. So, Vanya, you and I have been talking all week about giving people specific numbers and details. So let's break it down. If somebody out there, let's start with a single family home. That is the goal. 90% of the people listening to this show, whether they can afford it or not, their goal would be to be in a single family home where they have their own yard, they can remodel their kitchen any way they want, they can paint the house whatever color they want, they can, change things, the flooring, they can, just make it home for them. And in terms of today, just a simple single family home in Lauderhill, in Sunrise, in Miramar, what are the prices like today?
So I have it here. A single family home in the Broward County,
Yes.
right? If you're looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom single family home, they are in the mid 400s right now, depending upon the area.
So let's say 450.
450, I would say, 450.
Really? Miramar, you can get a house for 450?
No, that's where I was going.
Okay.
Because Miramar is East Miramar, West Miramar, so there's, area governs that. So I'm kind of going on the lower side, because you could find a 3-2 in Long Lake Ranches for 2.5 million. So I'm talking about an average 3-2, not in a high-end area, let's just say that.
Right. Average 3-2 in Miramar.
On the east side.
East side.
Yes.
How much?
Around 450, 460, that's what it would cost today to get. depending upon the upgrades. But I would definitely say you could still get below 500. Okay, so if you were to go for a property like that, I have some numbers here. You could definitely take advantage of the FHA loan program, which comes with 3.5% down payment. So your down payment portion would be about just close to $14,000.
Right.
And then you have the basic closing costs. We're not in the market where sellers are necessarily paying towards closing costs. It all depends on negotiations. I've been able to get a few times between the seller, between some repairs if they're needed, and between the difference between the appraised value and the property value.
Right.
And in some cases, lender credit. So, just putting it together, it might work. But I would put another, insurances are there. So I would put at least another 10 to 12,000. So overall, close to 30,000 you want to be prepared with.
So the minimum that you're going to be able to get into a home in today's market based on a price range of about $450 is just under $30,000.
Around 30,000.
Right. Okay, so if you're sitting there with 35,000, you can start shopping. You're in the game. You don't need to have 60, 70,000. But if you're sitting there with 15,000,
you have to look at your 401k.
You need to look at where else you might pull that money out from,
Absolutely.
Especially if your 401k has been going down. Now, Vanya mentioned FHA loan, but guess what? If you're a veteran, and we know there are veterans out there, lots of veterans may not be listening to the program, but everybody who is listening to the program knows a veteran. And a lot of times these guys don't know the benefits that they have and what they can get. So a VA loan is there, and the difference with a VA loan is that you would get 100% financing. So maybe a veteran with 15,000 could be getting into a home in this market.
Absolutely. VA loans are very, very attractive, and they give a lot of room. We have something called debt to income ratio.
Right.
So in there too, VA loan is a lot more flexible.
Yeah.
So absolutely,
So if you're a veteran or you know a veteran listening this morning, home ownership is definitely a good opportunity. Please reach out to us. The phone number is 954-866-2171. Get back on that, give me those numbers because I want more details. How much would that payment be? What would the monthly payment be? And let's break it down to the principal and interest, the taxes, the insurance, and give some specific details. You know, my NMLS ID is, what is my NMLS ID? 163-1107.
Let's go with me, I'll talk about
All right.
153205 is the NMLS ID.
We need to give our NMLS number when we're giving specific details about payments, interest rates, and things like that. And this is not an offer, this is an example of the numbers that you'll be facing. So go ahead.
So now I wouldn't know what the exact insurance and taxes would be.
Estimate.
So I'm using an estimate. Please remember that word. The principal and interest payment in today's market, if we were to go FHA, I'm going to take an interest rate of like 5.75%. That is around where it is. Some days high, some days low. If you watch it, and you'll be at about $22.50. That would be your principal and interest.
On a $450,000 house.
I'm sorry, $23.50.
You'll be looking at $23.50 as just your mortgage payment.
Your principal and interest.
Then you have to add the taxes.
You have to add the taxes. You have to add the insurance, and then you have to add.
How much are taxes?
I would use average like $400 at least for the taxes.
Okay, so 412 is 48. That would be 4,800 for the year, which is reasonable. Some houses may have a $7,000 tax bill. Maybe some lucky person has a $3,000 tax bill, but 4,800 is in the mid range. And insurance?
Insurance, I would put again. It's very hard. I'll just put like at least 300.
All right. So 312 is 36, so $3,600 as far as the insurance costs for the year.
Average, yeah.
All right. So there you have it. Those are some numbers that you and the total.
The total runs you just between $3,100 to $3,200 right
Yeah.
now.
So now, if you're out there paying $3,500 in terms of rent and feeling, you could buy. Is that in line? If I bought that house in that Miramar neighborhood, could I rent it for this enough to cover my mortgage payment?
No, because when you're buying to live in it,
Yeah.
you're only putting 3.5% down.
Right.
But if you're buying to make money off of it,
Yeah.
investors can't touch anything less than 20% down.
Mm.
So if an investor goes in with 20% down,
Right.
absolutely, all day long.
But I'm saying, if I buy it as a FHA buyer to live there, and the worst case is that 6 months from now I am laid off, is there?
Yes, in which FHA absolutely doesn't allow. So please don't go into FHA thinking I'll buy it and then I'll rent it out. But you have to be in it at least for a year. But if you've got into that situation that you had to, you would eventually rent it. Let's say 2 years have gone by and you feel like I have to move because of my job,
Right.
and I want to rent it. Absolutely, even like whenever I'm showing houses, and the first thing I tell my clients who are buying to live in the house, that if you were to rent this house today, what would that rent look like?
Right. So that house today would rent for how much?
Close to $4,000.
$4,000 to rent
It's
a
a
house in
3-bedroom.
Miramar.
It's a 3-bedroom house, and
Yeah.
what people are doing, it's not that a single guy is going to come and rent it out. Family comes,
Yeah.
or people bring roommates,
Yeah.
because that's just how everybody kind of comes together. But that's just the reality of the market. Any day, guys, no matter how you look at it, when you own it and when you rent the same property. Now, don't compare it with, but I only pay $900, but you are
That's
living in a
exactly
room.
where we need to go, because I know there are people in Miramar who are paying less than $3,500, less than
But they're
$4,000.
not renting a full 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom.
No, they are. They're renting a full 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, but they've been renting it for the last 8 years, and their landlord is not in tune with the market. So they're being
Full
very
time
lucky
yet.
until somebody gets in their ear and they get that call, hey, listen, the rent going to go up by $800. And you all know that you've heard those stories of people whose rent has gone up almost $1,000.
Yes.
Because you're right. It is possible to rent places for cheaper. It is possible that you have been renting places for less because you have an old agreement and somebody's not paying attention. But 90% of those situations are changing, have changed, and will change. And the question is, are you going to wait to get that notice from your landlord to say, hey, you got to pay $800 more for something you don't own? Or are you ready and willing to start the process now to say, hey, I'm going to own something that even though it might be expensive today, is going to be cheaper today than it will be tomorrow. The prices are going up.
Prices are going up, and rate is a cycle. The rates will drop.
Yeah.
And so at that
We
point
expect
of
the rates to
time,
come down for sure.
Yeah,
But buy now, refinance
you
later.
can always refinance.
Yeah.
If you are renting, because the rates drop, your rent is not going to drop.
Yeah.
It's going to go up even more, because when the rates drop, prices go up more.
Two things happening. Your seller, your landlord, he's getting a note. Even if he owned the house free and clear, he's getting a notice in the mail that his insurance went up. He's getting a notice in the mail that his property taxes are going up. And this is something that every homeowner has to deal with. Not just you who just got your notice and feeling, oh my God, how am I going to manage this? Every single person who owns real estate is seeing this, but at the same time, every single person is seeing that their property values have gone up significantly. So even though your taxes may have gone up by $4,000, the value of that property may have gone up by $40,000.
Have gone up because the property value has gone up.
Right.
But I want to talk to investors who are listening to all of this. Of course, there are buyers who want to buy and they're struggling. They may not even qualify because of the high interest rate.
And there are buyers who can buy, who are not struggling. We want to help those people who need help, but we know that there are people who need help who can afford it. So we're not only talking to the struggling buyer this morning.
We're
If
talking
you're
to
out there,
people who are procrastinating, thinking about a crash is going to save this, and that's when I'll step.
that's
into
who
the
you're
market.
talking to. But I'm talking to the people who are actually doing very well, listening to this show saying, you know, I have $150,000 in the bank and I wonder what should I be doing with it. They're not struggling.
No.
They should be investing because
Yeah.
converting that into real estate when we see the stock market going down, when we see the 401ks crashing, when we see even crypto being a little bit shaky, real estate is the place where we feel 5 years from now people will go, you know what, I'm glad I bought because after 30s, if you go back over the last 150 years, real estate is not going down. It may take a dip. And I lived through the 2008, market crash only to be back here now with this higher sense of confidence about real estate being one of the safest and most, secure long-term investments that you can make. But you need a proper strategy. And I believe Vanya is one of those people like myself who are helping people to create amazing strategies and more importantly, get it done. It's one thing to have a plan, but it's actually more important to be able to execute that plan and close on that transaction. And that's something that I'm very proud that we can consistently do and deliver results for our clients.
So the phone number, guys, is 954-866-2171. 954-866-2171. You can always send a text message if you're trying to call and you're not getting through. Just send a text message and one of the team members will call you right away.
And if you're sitting listening and you're, I'm not really ready to buy right now. I'm a young person, I'm an old person, I'm a retired person, but I want more information about investing in real estate. Text us. Send us some your questions. We're happy to answer your questions. We're happy to point in the right direction. But I personally am excited about educating people on the opportunities for business with real estate. To see real estate as a business, not just a commodity, not just somewhere for housing, but somewhere that you can buy a home and see how you can use that home, whether it's somewhere to park your truck, whether it's somewhere to actually rent a room out and have that contribute to your overall expenses. There are lots of strategies that we have seen our clients use, and we would love to help you to find your way. Vanya, I want to talk one more time. What about condos? Somebody, they don't want the headache, the hassle, the overhead of owning their own home. What could you get a condo for in today's market?
The condos, I've been able to find even below 200 for now. Remember, there is
a nice condo, great amenities in a good neighborhood. What price range?
Yes, depending upon the area again. I would say from 180 to up to 275. Now again, you could be on the beach in Brickell and they're in the millions, but I'm talking average for somebody who's looking to buy. And they're becoming very attractive.
250?
250, I just said, 250.
Okay.
But the thing is, you need, most of them require 20% down payment.
So that's $50,000.
If you're going to be, and a lot of people have the money in the 401k and thinking that that's what I'll retire off of. Well, you can't retire if you're renting. It's always going to be so tight, So definitely time to look into where you can get your funds together. And people, investors, very, very attractive market right now when it comes to condos. Now, the condo prices are not going to stay this way either, because there's a requirement where these condos need to catch up and build up reserves.
Mm-hmm.
And once that happens, people can go into these condos without having to put 20% down. That's down the road, not right now.
Right.
And instantly when that happens, they're more available to more people, more accessible. So obviously the prices go up quite a lot. Even in the condos, if I sold a condo 2 years ago and I'm looking at the price today, I'm seeing a significant increase, even with all these restrictions and requirements and stuff like that.
Right.
So absolutely that's something to look into. We're doing quite a lot of them. And no, not all of them have all these age restrictions or this or that. We know which ones to find, but be prepared. Average, you'll need about 20% down payment.
So 20% down on a $250,000 condo would give you a $50,000 out-of-pocket deposit. That's your down payment, not deposit. That's your down payment. Then you would need your closing costs and your escrows, probably another $8,000.
Yeah, because insurance is really covered by the maintenance fee.
Right.
So yeah, I would say about close to 60. You can see yourself going into one.
Right.
As an investor, you can see yourself getting one if you have that much cash available. And the mortgage payment for now, the interest rate varies for a person who's buying to live in it versus an investor.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're buying to live in it, I would say depending upon the other credits and stuff like that, you'd be probably in a payment zone of about $1,400-$1,500. And again, it's just hard to say because there's maintenance fee as well too.
So what would the mortgage?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That would be below $2,000 would be your total, but the base payment would be somewhere about $1,000. Again, there are so many factors. Trying to break it down piece by piece is very hard because each property has its own, requirements. At the end of the day, it is what I'm going to pay all together.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were to go in a transaction like that, you can find something below $2,000.
All right. So let's say $250,000 is the price.
Mm-hmm.
If you put $50,000 down, you get a mortgage for $200,000. Mm-hmm. At $200,000 at 7%, you're looking at about $1,400 as your mortgage payment alone on that. And then you have a maintenance fee, $400, $500 a month. So now you're at $1,900. Property taxes, maybe another $200. So $2,200, is that what would you say?
It would be usually below 2,000.
Okay.
Yeah, below that. 2,000 is like really stretching it.
Including the maintenance fee.
Yes, including the maintenance fee. So again, if the maintenance fee is higher, then, but again, there also maintenance fees covers so many things in these condos that it becomes almost worth it to go ahead and take a look.
And there's so many people that I know that are listening who say, me no want no maintenance fee. They don't like the HOA, they don't like the association. Believe me, anytime you buying a place, a condo or some type of townhouse that has no association fee, you're buying a headache.
Yeah.
You're buying a big problem further down the line. An association fee is a necessary factor in keeping up the conditions, in dealing with the deferred maintenance, in dealing with, the quality of the tenants and the people living around there. That somebody has to help to keep that balance, and we need to embrace our homeowners association rather than seeing them as a necessary expense.
People have a fear.
Yeah.
Because people feel that, they or somebody they know got in a lot of trouble with the association because they kept raising the fee and this and that. Yeah. I really want to send this message across to people, and especially people who are looking to invest and they want to buy these properties. Those days are gone.
Yeah.
These associations now are, first of all, we know which communities are doing good, which are not. But the lender requires these communities to give adequate paperwork in advance, such as the budget, such as the condo docs. There are just so many things that the lender looks at. That is where your protection comes. Because if the lender is not okay with what they're doing, they'll say they look shady. Things are not looking right,
Yeah.
Even so much as if they're under some sort of lawsuit. So all of that due diligence is done before you step into a condo. So don't let that be a factor to say, because of this issue, I'm nervous. There's a lot of things that have been put in place to make sure there are no sudden surprises.
All right. So I know you want to talk about some final expense stuff, but before we go there, I just want to talk about one. To me, this one is a gold mine for anybody out there listening. This is a townhouse in the Miami Gardens area, and we are representing the sellers on this particular property. What's the name of the development?
It's Sierra Ridge. It's right by County Line.
Yeah. This property was on the market for some time, and then we got a call to see if we can assist in getting it sold. Vanya went in. Her recommendation was to do some remodeling, which we got going, and that's actually in the process of doing. So 2 brand new bathrooms.
Yes, I have not listed it yet because we are just finishing up the little bit touch up. So definitely making the first offer to the audiences. If you're interested, the property is excellent for investors and also for first time buyers. This is one of those rare communities where you do not need 20% down.
I like the first time buyer. I would like to say, if you're listening to this show this morning and you're a serious first time buyer, how many, what's the size? 2 bedroom?
It's a 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom.
2 bedroom, 2 bathroom.
It's actually, it's not a condo, it's a villa.
Yeah, townhouse.
Townhouse, yeah. So I would say more like a villa because it has a decent little backyard as well.
Right.
And like I said, this is one of those rare communities where we've checked the budget and everything already that you do not need 20% down payment, and it's in the market. It's going to hit the market for 280,000. So absolutely, and
280,000. All right. Now what? Let's go through the payment now.
It's going to require at least 5% down payment because it cannot go FHA.
Right.
Right. So let's do the math.
5% of 250,000.
280,000.
280.
Yeah. What happened?
You're the maths brain from primary school.
No, but you've been ruling the show. So $14,000 is the down payment. And so the numbers, because it's 5% down, the numbers work just around the same as we discussed in the first example. The maintenance fee is just under $400,
right,
but it covers the insurance, the roof, the building structure, trash, all of that is in the maintenance fee. So that's another thing. It's hard to find maintenance fees under $400 covering all of these things.
Right.
The mortgage payment for someone who goes in with 5% down payment, including the maintenance fee, would run them between $2,100 to $2,300 a month.
So $2,300
on the high side.
Miami Gardens area. Now Miami Gardens, this is 2 separate things. We're selling a nice villa.
Sorry, but this is not Miami Gardens. This is actually North Miami Beach, where it falls. They're very close,
right,
so you are right in one sense.
Yeah.
But it's not Miami Gardens because Miami Gardens has a whole different thing going on.
Okay.
This is actually the address itself is not Miami Beach.
All right, so not Miami Beach. If you're out there listening, if you're down in the Miami area, you're down in the Fort Lauderdale area, and you've been looking around, you're ready, you have your money. Do we want to deal with somebody who's working with another realtor right now, and saying, I've been trying for the last 2 years, working with a realtor, and I just can't find something? Is it okay? Are you comfortable with that person saying, look, I'm going to leave that realtor and come to you because I feel like you can better serve and support my goals in getting where I want to get to?
People have choices, and if people want to make a change, and the first thing is for that individual who's sadly been looking for so long to have the confidence in talking to us that they feel we can deliver.
Yeah.
And if they feel we can deliver, they feel comfortable, absolutely, people are free to choose.
You're in a market where you have to take responsibility. If you've been shopping and you can't find something, I don't know what you're doing wrong, because I see people come to Vanya constantly who are able to get out there, find something that makes sense, and move on it in a very quick and efficient way. So definitely worth it. No, the time has flown away. Let's talk about final expense insurance.
Well, I'll take more time next show, but definitely, guys, it is an insurance you have to look into. It is an insurance that doesn't cost thousands of dollars. The highest coverage you can get is no more than $25,000. And like the name suggests, final expense, it is completely catered to taking care of the final expenses when the loved one passes away. Why is it important? Because it is the only policy that will give the amount or whatever it is insured for to the beneficiary literally within 24 hours. All other insurances can take, by the law, 6 weeks to 6 months to pay off. And if you don't have this protection, God forbid something happens, that's when things go out of hand, because there is an expense with the funeral. Within 24 hours, the money is given. It's almost a guaranteed issue. There's no age restriction. So absolutely, it's something to look into. I'll talk more in detail next week about it, but definitely. And you can buy it for yourself and your loved ones.
All right, so you can reach out to us anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 954-866-2171. Again, that's 954-866-2171. Let me let Queen Ifrica take us out this morning. And just, you guys have a great day. Stay well. Don't let anything stress you out. Just remember, you and only you knows what's right for you. Stay well. Take care.